Hey guys, is the voice okay? And the screen is okay as well? Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Odoo Live. My name is Felix Yun, marketing officer here in Odoo Hong Kong, and I will be your host in this webinar. And joining me today is Nicholas, our business advisor here in Odoo. Today we will be discussing the inventory management with Odoo. We will show you how to do stock accounting and product costing with our apps. So today's presentation will take around 30 minutes and followed by a 20 minutes of Q&A session. Through the presentation, we will be answering your question in the YouTube chat. Nicholas will help me to get them at the end of this in the Q&A session. So if you like to view this webinar again, feel free to check it out on our channel, or maybe later or tomorrow. So thanks again everyone for attending. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Felix. As mentioned, my name is Nicholas Pupla. I'm a business advisor at the Odoo in Hong Kong office. I'm in charge of giving advice to potential user of Odoo, doing demo, giving best practices. And today, what we're going to do is a webinar on the stock accounting and product costing. So it's going to be, we will see the inventory management, but it's going to be more advanced than that. So if you haven't seen, you don't know how the inventory, the purchase works in Odoo, I recommend to go and watch it first. And this webinar is recorded, so you can still watch it afterwards. But I won't go into much details on the on those inventory and basic inventory. So if you feel lost, I suggest to go and see the other webinar first. First of all, we're going to do a quick presentation of the company. We're going to do a presentation of Odoo, the client using Odoo, the webinar objective, and then, as Felix mentioned, the Q&A. So quickly, what is Odoo? So Odoo is integrated suite of business apps, which cover most of the departments in a company. So we cover inventory, purchase, and sales, which is what we're going to see today, manufacturing, e-commerce, HR, and more than that. All integrated, which means you can cover all your business needs in one software. You don't have to deal with different providers. All the apps, most of the apps, there might be some missing here or here. So as I mentioned, sales, operation, manufacturing, finance. I forgot to mention accounting, but of course we have it. Marketing, and we have extra connector, so shipping connector, e-commerce connector, and even VoIP. So today we're going to focus on inventory for the cost management. We will go through the apps, purchase, accounting as well. The company itself is based in Belgium. So we have 7 offices around the globe. So right now we're in Hong Kong, so we cover the East Asia market, and also Australia and New Zealand. Sorry. So we provide services for the cloud version. So if you need help for customization, for training, you can call us. If you're in Southeast Asia and Australia, New Zealand. If not, then you can contact our offices in Belgium for EMEA, and you can contact San Francisco, New York, if you're based in US or Canada or Latin America. The system is available in 32 different languages. We have more than 3 million users around the globe, but it's growing. So we have more than 1,000 new installs a day, whether you use the Odoo Community, the Odoo Enterprise, or the Odoo Cloud version. For those who are watching in Europe, we have the Odoo Experience event coming in October, where we will be releasing the new version. So this is a picture of what it's like to go to Odoo Experience. We have more than 100, even 1,000 people attending conferences. The release of the new version, there's also networking, gathering, etc. In terms of customer, so Odoo has customer for any kind of industry, small and medium-sized company or the core of our customer. So less than 50 users, whether you're in manufacturing business, services, F&B, you name it, and also large companies. So we have customer here like Shell, Hyundai, Danone, Food Panda in Asia. So the solution can fit any kind of business, whether you're a new startup, like a company that works with 2-3 employees, or a multinational with multi-entities who needs a multi-company management with inter-transaction. So this is possible. Okay, so yeah, the number have been updated actually on this slide. I'd say it's 3.7 million, but it's actually growing. So we're getting close to the 4th million users. So the topic of the day is the stock accounting and product costing in Odoo inventory. So we will see how to manage 3 different challenges. The first one is how to choose your costing method. So there's 3 different costing methods you can use in Odoo. So based on your industry, based on your company workflow, you might want to choose one costing method. Then how to record your inventory in your account. There's 2 methods, which is periodic and perpetual. And then the third one is how to add landed costs. So we'll see that on the third part. In terms of costing methods, in terms of presentation, we will follow these guidelines. So the costing methods, I will show the 3 different methods: standard price costing, average price costing, and real price costing. So I will do a quick demo with how it works for each method, how you purchase a good, you keep it in your store, and then you deliver. What's the consequence on the cost of your goods? Then we will see the periodic inventory valuation and the perpetual inventory valuation. And then we will see the landed costs. Okay, so let's start with the costing methods. So one of the first decisions you have to make when you install Odoo is your costing methods. This is somehow more important than setting up your chart account or anything, because it's going to have a lot of consequences in terms of accounting. So it's more important than setting up the general ledger for some company, for example. So depending on the business of your company, your daily volume, your activity, if the goods you purchase, the cost is evaluating a lot, you will choose one costing method or another. So the first one is the standard price. So this is the one that is set by default in Odoo. So it's very simple. It's just computed based on the set price for product. So on the product form, basically you have the sales price and the cost price. So you just have to set that cost price, and then it will basically define the cost of all your purchases. So it won't take into account the purchase order price in the costing of your goods. So this is the first method. So we will do a quick demo right now. So I will move to my presentation here. So this is an Odoo database online, so with the latest version, the 11. As you can see, I have several apps: sales, purchase, inventory, accounting. So what I will do first is to show you how you can set up a product and a product category, because the costing method is actually not set on the product itself, but on the product category. It makes sense because you don't want to set the costing method on each product. So in order to start, we can go to inventory. And we go to the configuration here, and we will see that we have the product categories here. So by default, you have two categories, which is all and all sellable. And that's actually here where you will be able to set the costing method. So the 3 different methods, which are standard price, average cost, which is the second one we will see, and the third one, which is real cost. But in that case, it's first in, first out. You can select different stock exit strategy. So first in, first out, last in, first out, or if you use batch or lot or serial number, you can also use first expired, first out. But in this demo, we will just focus on the first in, first out. Later on the third strategy. So standard price here, and then there's the inventory valuation. So we will see that later on. Manual is basically periodic and automatic is perpetual. So we'll see that. So I have this category, which is which costing method is standard price. Now I can go and create a product. I will show you the other one. So the second one which I will use is average costing. So what I have to do is to create a new category. I select the costing method, average cost. I have a third one which is real costing. So first in, first out. And then we'll do a fourth one for the accounting part, which is perpetual and real. So that's the only way you can manage your strategy perpetual, is to use the first in, first out. I mean the real price, first in, first out, or last in, first out. And we will see that on the second part of the demo. Okay, so let's go in my inventory now. You see I have several products already. I will create a new product. So for example, I will create an aluminum nipple. So the product needs to be the product needs to be stockable products. Then you can set all information. And the most important thing to set when you use the standard costing is actually to select the cost. So to put a number in the cost here. So I'll put, for example, 10. Okay, and my sales price, it doesn't matter. I won't do delivery order because it has a low effect. You can add pictures. You can add vendors information if you want. You can set here the traceability if you want to use serial number, lot number, and then you have the invoicing. So we have the landed cost here. That I will show you that on the third part, and that's basically the most important things. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now create a purchase order with this new product, and I'll do different examples. So I create a purchase order with the same price, $10, and then we'll see what's the effect on the custom inventory. Then I will create a second purchase order with the different cost, and we will see what's the result as well. So in order to do that, I just go, oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. I'm just checking that I have, okay, standard price and manual. So it's the right category. So I need to change the category right here. If I want to move, I can select it here. All right, so let's go into purchase now. So for those who don't know, purchase is related to inventory. So when you create a purchase order, it creates a receipt in the inventory. You can receipt your goods and then it's stored in your warehouse. So I'm just going to go quick, create a purchase order, select a vendor, add my product, so aluminum nipple, select a quantity of 10 units, and your unit price of $10. Okay, so the total is going to be $100 plus taxes. I confirm my order. Then you can send PO by email if you want. What I'm going to do is go straight to the point. I'm going to receive my product. So you can receive from the purchase module or you can receive from the inventory. Okay. So I validate all the quantity and I apply. So now I want to see my product in my stock. So I can go to my inventory. What I'm going to do to make the demo easier is to have a second tab where I will be accessing the inventory valuation. So it's a report you can set a current inventory. So you can set the valuation of the current inventory or a specific date in the past. So I'll check here and I'll be able to see that I have my aluminum nipple, which is set at $100 for 10 units. So the price basically is 10 per unit. So this is a normal for now because we are using the standard price. Now let's do a second example where I actually set a different purchase price. So I go back to the quotation, I select the vendor B, for example. I select my aluminum nipple, I put 10 more units, and I select the cost, the purchase price of $2. So the total will be 120. I validate, I confirm the order, and I receive my product. So if I validate and I go back to my valuation, I have to reload. So I can see that I have 20 units, and my value total is 200. So the price that I set on purchase order doesn't have any effect because my cost per unit is still $10 per unit. So this is basically when you use the standard price. So now let's move to the second method, which is the average price. So the difference is now that every time you purchase and receive a good, the cost price is calculated based on the purchase order price. So it's going to be different from what I just saw it. Now the price I'm going to set on the purchase order will have an effect. However, when you deliver a product, whatever the price, whatever the quantity, the price you sell, it won't have any effect on the stock which you have on hand, which is basically normal. So I'll show you the example I will do. So let's say I have a product that I receive with 8 units. So first purchase order is $10 per unit. So my stock valuation is $80, and the cost price is $10 each, basically. Then the second thing I do is I do a purchase order of 4 units, but each of them is now purchased at $16. So once I do that in my stock, I have 12 units. Because I use the average price, I'm gonna have this total 80 plus 64. So 80, that's for my first purchase order. 64, it's 4 units by $16. So the total of my stock will be 144. But because I use the average price, the cost price per unit would be 12. So 12 by 12 is 144. And if I do a third action, which is delivering goods to a customer, so I deliver 10 units, my stock valuation will be 144 minus 10 units by $12 each, so minus 120, which means I will have a cost valuation remaining of $24 and with only 2 units left in my stock. So that's a cost price of $12 as well. So you will see that the delivery has no effect on the cost price. So let's do it now in the demo. So I create a second product. So I can have access to my product in the purchase here. So the second product will be aluminum frame, for example. Okay, so it's the stockable as well. The category now is average costing. And I don't have to set a cost here because anyway it will change. As soon as I receive some product, it will be updated. If you want, you can set a cost. Okay, let's say I put a cost of 10 units, of $10, sorry. You will see that later, when I create some purchase order with a different purchase price, this will be updated. Okay, so let's save and now create a purchase order. First purchase order, if you remember, it's 8 units at $10 each. So let's do that. Okay, purchase order. So I select my vendor, I do a purchase order for the aluminum frame. So 8 units at $10. I save, I confirm my order, I receive the products, and I validate. Okay. So if I go now in the inventory valuation, I will have a new product. So I refresh. And the aluminum frame is so 8 units, and I have a total value of $80. Okay. If I go in the product itself, I can see the cost is $10 still. Second example, I create a new purchase order for 4 units at $16 each. Okay. So I have to go to purchase. Oh, sorry, no, I want to go back to this one. This is the one I'm using for purchase order. So I create a new purchase order. So it's 4 units of $16. Where is it? Aluminum frame. Did I delete it? No, it's here. I don't know why. Oh, aluminum. Okay, that's why. A typo. Okay, so I have a very bad memory. So 4 units at $16 each. All right. So I select the price here. I confirm the order. I receive the product. So the total is 64 units. I validate. And now if I go back to my inventory valuation, so remember it used to be 8 units at $80. It's now 12 units at $444. So if I had standard cost, it would be 12 units by $10. It would be 120. But that's not the case. Now I have average cost. So the cost is now $12. If I go on my product, you could see that the cost has been updated. It used to be $10 and now it's $12. So this is automatically updated if you receive new goods. We might be short on time, so I won't go through the delivery parts. If I deliver goods, it will not have no effect if you use the average cost to the product. So no effect at all. The third costing methods is going to be the real price. So it's more complicated and it's less common. So the cost price is determined by the actual purchase price as item or received. So same thing than the average. However, you have the inventory is separated in group. So you have your total valuation, but then you will have the price per lot that you receive. So you will see basically if you purchased one product at $10 for the first time, you will see that in your valuation. And if the second time you purchase at $16, so you will basically see the details of everything. And in comparison with the average price, the delivery also affect the price because you use a removal strategy, either first in, first out. So it will select, it won't select randomly your stock, it will select the stock which arrived first or the stock which arrived last if you use last in, first out. So example first. So the, if I receive a new product with unit at $10 each, my valuation would be $80. And as for the two other methods, the cost price will be $10. If I create a second purchase order of 4 units at $16 each, my valuation total will be 144. So 80 plus 64. However, I won't have one single cost price. I will have two cost price. One at $10 for the first 8 units and one at $16 for the 4 other units. If I remove 10 units, so I deliver 10 units, and my strategy is here it should be it should be first in, first out. Then I will remove 10 units, 8 units at $10 and 2 units at $16. So it would be 144 minus 80 and minus my 2 units at $16 minus 32. So my stock valuation will be only 32. I will only have 2 units left. And those 2 units are the one I received last. So they will still be valuated at $16. And if I add 2 more units, so I receive 2 more units at $6 each, then I will have a valuation of 32 plus $12. So the total will be 44, but it won't be average. So it won't be $11 per cost price, per product, sorry. It would be 2 products at $16 and 2 products at $6. So let's do an example with a third product. So usually you use that for raw material in the agricultural industry, for example. So I've created a product which is wheat, but I would create another one, for example, corn. You can use that for other product if you purchase gold, if you purchase silver. So the product is stockable product and the category is real costing here. So I don't have to set a cost because it has no effect and it won't show anything here as well. Compared to the average price, this cost will remain empty. So if I save and create a new purchase order, all right, I'll just go back to my inventory evaluation and create a new purchase order for my corn. So it's going to be 8 units at $10 each. I received. Confirm the order and I received 10. I apply, and if I go to my inventory valuation, I'll be able to see that my total for the corn is $80. But as you can see here, I have an indicator I can click on and I can see the detail per product. So 8 units for $80 is my first product that I received. Now let's do a second example. 4 units at $16 each. So I'm going to try to go quicker. So select the corn. I confirm the order. I receive the product and I validate. Now my value is going to be 144. And if I check the details, you can see that I have a separation between my stocks. So I have 2 different lot or batch if you want. One at $10 each and another one at $16 each. And if I click on the product itself, I can see that there's no information on the cost. So it doesn't show on the product because this is not relevant anymore. Third example, I delivered 10 units. So now, because my inventory exit strategy is first in, first out, I'm going to show you what it does. So I just go to sales. I create a sales order for my product. So setting to customer ABC, selecting corn. I'm going to sell 12 units. The unit price has no effect. It's just a sales price. So let's sell it at $50. You won't sell unit of corn. Usually you will sell kilos or volume. So we can manage that in Odoo as well. So I confirm my sale. I deliver and I validate. So in my inventory valuation, I will have 10 units valued at $10, which will be out of my stock, and 2 units valued at $16. So if I refresh, product valuation here, I have to refresh. I will see that I have It didn't work. What did I do wrong? I used the con. Is it a sellable product? Stockable product? Oh, I didn't validate. Did I? Delivery order. What did I do wrong? SO03. Con done. That's strange. Take from stock. Okay, let's try again. Oh, there's two cons. Did I create a second one by mistake? Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's the one. So I created, I don't know why I created a second product with the same name. So 10 units at $30. I confirm the sale. I deliver. I validate. And if I go back to my inventory and to my inventory valuation, here I can see that I only have 2 units left, and those 2 units are valued at $16 because it's first in, first out. So first I took my 10 units valued at $10 and 2 other units valued at $16. So as you can see, different cost method, different results. So we've been able to see the cost methods. So standard, simply you use cost fields. So purchase, receive, and deliveries don't affect the cost. Average, the purchase price is used to recalculate average cost every time goods are received. So deliveries don't have effect. And the real, the cost determined by actual purchase price and delivery removal strategy. So in that case, I use FIFO, but you can use LIFO if you want. So that's basically for the costing method. Now I'm going to go a bit quicker because I think we're short on time with the periodic valuation. So periodic valuation and perpetual valuation. So the periodic, basically there's 2 different ways to handle inventory valuation in your accounting. So periodic and perpetual. So the first one that is used in Odoo, the standard one is the periodic. So that's the most common, used by most of the customers, and that's the one we recommend. So every time you create a delivery or purchase, it doesn't create a journal entry in the accounting system. So related to the stock. Of course, when you create a bill, it creates a journal entry related to the bill, but it doesn't create anything in terms of stock. So instead of that, you need to have your accountant at the end of the period. So it can be a month, it can be a quarter or a year. Post journal entries representing the value of your inventory. So this is, I repeat, how the system works in standardly in Odoo. So I will show you what it is. So if I go back, if I go now to my accounting, and I go to the journal entries, I can see that there's actually no stock stock journal entry related to the purchase order that I've made, or delivery orders. There is one here, but that's because I did some testing beforehand to test the Perpetual. If you, I have to remove, if you look at it, there's nothing in terms of stock. So those 3 are related to one purchase order that I created earlier. You can see that if you go in the purchase here, I go to my purchase orders. I go to the latest one, for example, 0015. If I create a vendor bills, for example, which is the next thing I'm supposed to do, I validate. So the unit is the quantity is based here, is set here. So I can just validate. And if I want to see the journal entries here, I can see that I only have entries related to the bill. So there's nothing that is related to the inventory. So if I now refresh, I can still see that there's, sorry, it's not the one. I've got to back to accounting. If I go back to the journal entries, I can see I have a vendor bills, but I have nothing which is posted in terms of stock journal. And nothing shows in the profit and loss or the balance sheets either. So if you want to use the periodic strategy, then on every month or every quarter or every year, your accountants need to go in the system and log the journal entry. So basically, you have to go to journal entries, and I think I did an example earlier, which is advisor journal items. Okay, hold on a second. Or I can just create a new one. So basically, you would have to go to your journal entries, select the right account with debit and credits. So I will show you how it looks basically when you do it. So you have to select debit account for assets inventory, closing value, debit entry, for expenses, cost of goods sold, a credit entry for the expenses, purchased goods, and a credit entry for the assets, the inventory starting value. So you have to do that in order for your stock to show in your profit and loss and to show in your balance sheet. So that's for the periodic valuation. If you want more information about that, there's a great presentation which was done by one of my colleagues from the US team. You can look on your YouTube page. There's at least 30 minutes dedicated to the periodic valuation and the perpetual valuation as well. So for the perpetual, instead of having to do that manually on a periodic basis, then all purchase order receipt and deliveries are logged into your books in real time. So it requires a lot of configuration, and it can be tricky, and it can cause a lot of mistakes. So you can only do that if you know what you're doing. So don't do that because you think, oh, it's going to be easier. I don't have to ask my accountant to post things on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. Because if you think that way, you're going to make mistake, and it's going to take you more time to fix those mistakes than having to post the entries periodically. So we recommend to use that only for expert accountants and advanced user in Odoo, or we can help you do that. If you use the cloud version, we have support services that you can provide, implementation services. So you can get in touch with an Odoo consultant and ask him, okay, I want to use the perpetual valuation and do it for you. But again, if you want more information about that, you can watch that video. So look on your YouTube channel, inventory accounting, and you'll be able to see a great demo of more than 1 hour done by our team in the US. Okay, the last part of the demo will be the landed cost. So the landed cost lets you include additional costs associated with receiving a product. So it can be transportation cost, it can be custom duties, insurance, labor charges. So in order to use that, you need to use the real costing and the perpetual valuation. And there's different methods for the landed cost. So let's say you receive 2 different products or 3 different products in the same shipment in a container, and you need to add a landed cost for shipment, for tax duties. You can either use the equal split methods. So it will basically split between the 2 lines of products, but it won't take into consideration if you have 50 units for the first line and only 2 units for the second line. It would just split equally between the 2 type of product. So it can be useful for certain business, but for some it doesn't make sense, because a product that you purchase for 2 units should not receive the same landed cost than a product which you purchase for 100 units, for example. So if you don't want to use equal split, you can use the quantity split, which is basically splitting the cost between the unit themselves. So if you purchase 8 bricks and 2 logs, that's 10 units, you will divide the cost by 10. And then you have the current cost, which use the ratio. If your logs cost $40 and your bricks cost $40 and your logs cost $20, the ratio is 2 to 1. So your landed cost will be shared based on this ratio. So 60%, so 2/3 for the bricks, and $30 for the logs, which is 1/3. And the third one is the split by weight and split by volume. So I'm going to show you a quick example of the, I think it's the equal split. So in order to set your landed cost, first you need to activate it in the inventory. So you just go to settings here, and then you select landed cost here. And then you need to set your landed cost type. So I've created one, which is freight from France, when I purchase from France FOB. So this is by quantity, actually. So if you want to edit, so the product, as you remember, can only apply on product which are set real price, real cost, and perpetual valuation. The split methods are here, equal by quantity, so I'm going to use by quantity, so I will divide by the number of product in my shipments. The cost of the product is 500, and the expense account, so I'm using the Australian chart of accounts for those who wonder. So we have a specific account for freight here, and the product type is consumable. So you need to activate is the landed cost and is it active, okay? Then I'm going to receive products, 2 products. So I'm going to create a purchase order for 2 products which are set perpetual and real. So the aluminum block, for which I'm going to receive 10 units, had $100 each, and the brass block, which is 20 units and has a cost of $50, for example. Okay, so I just save, confirm my order, receive my products. So I can go in shipment, validate, and apply. Let's say you made a mistake. I mean, you didn't set your product as perpetual and real. You won't be able to do that thing. It won't allow you. So you will have a warning, which is quite nice. At least you know there's a problem with your settings. And in order to apply the landed cost, I have to go to inventory. I need to remember my receipt. So it's the latest one, so it should be number 16 here. Yep. So I go to operation, landed cost. I have one already posted. I select the picking here. The account journal is stock journal. You can add several pickings if you have several pickings from the same shipment, for example. So I can select another picking if I want, but I'm going to do it because my other products are not set properly. And I will just add my landed cost, which is the FOB freight, which is by quantity, but I can still change it if I want. And what I have to do is to compute here. So after I compute, I will be able to see that my aluminum block, the former cost was $100 by unit, and the total cost of 1,000. I have added, so the cost which have been assigned is 500 by 30, so divided by 30. So I guess it's 66.67 for the landed cost dedicated to aluminum block. And for my brass block, it's basically 333. Yes. So my cost is no, that's not the right way. No, sorry. That's the total. So my landed cost for this, per product, it's gonna be 166 divided by 10. So it's gonna be 16.66. So my cost per unit will be 116. And for the total here for the brass block, it's gonna be 333 by 50 units. So I don't see exactly what it shows, but if I go now in my product itself, my inventory valuation, which is here. So I can see that I have my aluminum block, my brass block. I did some tests beforehand, so I have more units. I have 11 units instead of 10 and 22 instead of 20. But because it's a real cost, I'll be able to see the detail here. So my 10 units are here, the line of the units here, and the landed cost is added here. So that I know that for those 10 units, my total cost is 166. So if I divide by 10, it's 16.66 per unit. And if I go to the second one, the brass block, I see the same information. So 333 for 20 units. That was 20 units, not 50. Yeah. All right. Just to show you the difference between perpetual and periodic, once I create a move and I go to accounting advisor, journal entries, I actually have stock journal which are added. So the one I've just created, so it should be this one. So the brass block for 10 units. So I have some journal entry which are created. So for every movement, whether it's a delivery or purchase, you will have journal entry which will be created. So yes, so that's basically we've been able to see how you can manage your cost strategy. So we managed to answer those questions and to costing method, sorry, to record your inventory in your account and how to add landed costs. So if you want more information about the second part, I recommend again to see the other webinar that was done. I think it was like 7 months ago. And now we can probably see if we have some questions, Felix.
Okay. Thank you, Nicholas, for your presentation. It was amazing, and I can see there are a couple of questions raised by our audience. Okay. First of all, by Robin, he asks, "Can you change cost when receiving the goods?" I think.
Sorry. When?
Yeah. Can we change the cost when receiving maybe the materials?
In a purchase order?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, you can basically set different costs on different purchase order. So, but I'm not sure exactly what you mean by changing the cost. You'll need to be more specific.
Yeah, maybe you have to elaborate more on that, Robin. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you mean can you change the strategy afterwards? Maybe that's your question.
No, he mean change the course on a receipt, not change the PO course.
You won't be able to. Well, you can still change the cost on the invoice. So it's still possible, but once the sales order is validated, you cannot change the cost. Once the purchase order, sorry, is validated, you cannot change the cost.
Okay. So, another question by Dion. How do we see the cost price history for each product?
So we used to have that. I saw in the webinar that done previously, we had that, but now all we have is basically the report inventory valuation here. If you want to have access to all the history of all your costs, you have to go in this reporting here. So there's no, before we used to have the information right on your stock. Here you could go to stock on hand and see the inventory valuation. However, it's not there anymore. So you can just go to inventory valuation and see that information there.
Okay. So another question by Greg. Do these costing methods propagate through a manufactured process, like a normal process where materials are purchased and consumed in manufacturing a product?
Yes, so actually when you use manufacturing together with purchase inventory, you can have your cost analysis of your manufactured product, and you will see the cost of your material, and you will see the actual cost of those products, because you can use lot and batches as well. So it will show on the cost analysis. Yes.
Okay. Another question was by Robin. He asked, are the item codes case sensitive? He meant it seems that the presentation had both like con and then the big capital letter of con, but they are actually different products. So if using periodic costing, does the system get the logs or sales? Like, why does the periodic variation require much more configuration?
Because you need to select the right journal. So for different products, you might have select different journals. So there's a lot of configuration to do beforehand than just going at the end of the month and do a general stock entry for all your products at the same time. So that's why. But for more information about that, I recommend to look at the video made by the previous webinar by my colleague Brett, who did all that. So maybe we can post the video on the at the bottom of this webinar, so that people can go and check, because it go much more into details for the periodic and for the perpetual valuation.
Okay. So another question by Ashley: for this landed cost, is this linked to the actual supplier invoice for freight?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. For this landed cost.
Yeah.
Is this linked to the actual supplier invoice for logistic?
Get to check, but I don't think it is linked. Which one was the one I selected? You can add it, but doesn't add it automatically. So you need to add it. So you can select your product. So the landed costs here, you can add it. But it doesn't automatically show on the vendor bill.
Okay, so after you insert that item into the product list, it will be another accounting entry as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so this answered another question by Ashley. So Joanne, hi. We are using Odoo version 10 and set up to use average price preferential, but we experience dispensacy in inventory variation. Should we switch to average price manual, and how to do it? So
to use average price perpetual, normally it's not possible, because perpetual, you can only use real price with perpetual. So I don't know if it was different with Odoo V10. If you use Odoo, I'm not sure if you use like a community version or enterprise version or cloud version. My recommendation would be to contact, if you use the self-hosted version, to contact the partner or the company you use for implementation. If you use the online version, I will recommend to contact your sales representative. And if you have, for example, a success pack, you'll be able to contact your consultant. So I would recommend to contact the person who did the implementation for you, because it's on a case-by-case basis. I wouldn't be able to answer you if I don't know the history of your database, what exactly you do. So it's not something you can just switch like that. It takes additional configuration. So I would recommend
they're using enterprise, and
okay.
hosting method is
So if you're using enterprise, either you did the implementation yourself, but if you have like system, people like IT team, or if you have a network administrator, you probably did yourself. But if you did the implementation with Odoo partner, then I suggest to contact them directly.
Okay, so where were we? Okay, another question by Dion. She asks how to see cost price history for each product's average price.
Again, that was the same question than earlier. So the only possibility you have to see is basically go in the inventory and go in the report. Because we don't have the history per receipt. I've checked earlier. So if I go to my transfer, for example, yeah, we don't have the cost. So you have to go in the inventory. Maybe I'm missing something, but in the latest version, basically, you can only see the detail for the real cost. Yeah, so that's the only possibility.
Okay, so Ashley, okay, did I miss your question before? Like, okay, you asked the second question that can we see the accounting entry? Like I think we did answer your question. Like we said if the logistic fee is inserted in the product list as a item under the bill, then it will be linked to the accounting entry. So okay. And Roman also like to ask if using periodic variation, how is the log created for posting sales details for the financials?
So you have to create all that manually. Again, for more information, I really recommend to look at that video. So we will post the link next to this video, so you can see all the information about the periodic and the perpetual valuation. I think it's better because I'm not the I have more knowledge in terms of procurement more than any accounting part of all this.
Okay, so is there any question? I think basically when we are talking about like stock